What the hell am I doing before 5 o'clock in the morning? Well, that's right. I'm going to drive up to the Sam Houston National Forest, walk around. I know it's January, and I walked around another part. I walked around Stephen F. Austin State Park last weekend, and the trees were very much bare and dead. So I'm not expecting a whole lot for this morning. And I don't want to spend the whole day there because it's supposed to get sunny. But good to scout around places. And I think that's what this video should be about, planning. Today I'm planning on coming back, probably over spring break, if it's not too crowded and there aren't too many spiders. But coming back from planning from this morning, just walking around, seeing what compositions there are. If there's something to shoot this morning, great. I really hope there is, but it's just a place I haven't been before. So when you go in someplace new, you take your time. Let's see what we can see before the sun starts to come up, because I don't know if I'm going to get some good scenery. Some of the clouds, so far it looks completely cloudy this morning, but then I've got a 60 or 70 mile drive ahead of me just to go north. Oh well. Let's see what we can see. It's very early morning, a little after 7. What time is it? 7:15? No, 7:21 already. So that was a drive. Driving up I-45 is a pain in the ass with most drivers. So let me take adjust the lens hood. What I'm probably going to end up doing a bit later, I may put the filter on here, which I remember to leave in my camera bag as the morning gets a little brighter, but I don't know if you can see through there. That's just, look at that. It's beautiful. And my intent is I'm not going to hike the entire 4 miles to the campgrounds. I just want to go down to Lake Conroe, see if I can get a good composition while the light's still decent. I hope I didn't get here too late in the morning. And that's part of what I'm talking about with planning is, even if you're tired, you're cold, the temperature is actually still dropping a bit. It's down to like 45 right now. I didn't think it was going to drop below 50 this morning, but here we are. I remembered my tripod has been in my trunk this whole time. I couldn't find it in my room, so glad I had it, but I don't think I'm going to bring it on this hike this morning, but I will take it with me afterwards. I'll bring it back once I find out what I need exactly next time I come up here, which I'm going to try to camp over spring break if I can up here. But right after this hike this morning, I'm probably going to drive over to Huntsville State Park. Yeah, probably not going to drive by the big Sam Houston statue monument because too many people have taken a photo of that already. But we'll take a walk around, probably a few miles, just to do the loop around the Huntsville State Park. But there's a good lake, and I need some lake photos. Don't know if it'll add to the portfolio, but hey, let's try it. Okay, a little ways back, just saw a woodpecker at the top of one of these pine trees, and it was as big as a hawk. Like, that's a really big woodpecker. I don't think I've ever seen a woodpecker that big before. That was pretty cool. And I think I could hear a deer or an armadillo. I heard something that sounded like it had some weight in its step. But every time I moved, I would hear it move a bit. Not stop, it would stop. But I don't think either of us could see each other because, you know, I'm dressed like a walking pine tree. I blend in pretty well, and that's not intentional. But almost at the lake. So, yeah, my arm's already getting tired here. So, let's press on. Oh, yeah. I don't care if my face is in the shadow. I am definitely going to bring my tripod back to this spot. This is what it's all about. It's nice. It's peaceful. You do your meditating, your yoga, whatever you got to do here, but sitting by the water's edge, even if nothing comes of a shot of right here, even though maybe I'm standing right in a good composition. I don't know. There's a good tree in the foreground, lake in the background, and maybe the neighborhood on the other side. It's just great. This part on Google Maps, it said Lake Paula or something like that, but like, why? It's part of Lake Conroe. So I don't know. Also, while I'm here, might as well talk a little bit more about planning. Now, obviously, like I said, I left my tripod in the trunk because I just don't feel like I need the extra weight while I'm walking around scouting here. But now that I know, I can plan to come back, even if it's still a cold day, when there's still some cloud cover there, and even if they're not bright in the morning, this could also look really good for sunset. But today's not that day. I'm not sticking around all day. Oh, ooh, there's a breeze. Ooh, it is cold out here. But I do have my ND filter in my backpack, and this is photography planning. Scout every location you can. You know, if you have the means, if it's not too long of a drive to come back to, just drive out and walk around and look, and then drive back. If you can't do that, like I know some people get some really good photos up in the mountains, but they got to use different programs and apps to look where the sun's going to be, and you know, the GPS, height, elevation, all that good stuff. And I totally understand that. I'm just not in a location where I can or need to do that. Kind of sucks being down in the flatlands, in the grasslands, the swampy areas. But yeah, that's for photography. I also started thinking more about, because I need to do another monologue, because, you know, more than a photographer, you know, I'm an actor. Do what I gotta do. And I still can't decide what monologue to do next, but it being winter, I think I'm gonna grow out my winter coat. I'm gonna grow out the beard. Do something, even though I got a haircut. I'm sure there's some good Shakespeare. I'd still want to do something from Mammoth. I think that'd be awesome. But yeah, preparedness as an actor, while I'm thinking about it, plan, especially if you're going to film a monologue for an audition, which I know a lot of people are doing these days, plan on where to be, like in a good sound-treated room, or heck, there's nothing wrong with doing it outside if you have the means to do some good, you know, audio post-production or whatever, or get somebody to film you like I did with some of my previous videos when I did was it Richard the Second? I forget. I can't remember that second monologue that I did. But yeah, just make it look cinematic. You know, I think that might be more interesting for people to watch, you know, if you're going to send in an audition rather than, you know, everybody sends in something. Well, almost everybody. Can't say everybody. Almost everybody sends in something that's just, you know, on a tripod, in a room, and it just looks so generic. And I also started thinking that way because some friends of mine keep raving on Facebook about, like, some of the Houston area photographers that are known in the theater community. Some photos, you know, they do a good job, but so many of them just look so generic. Like, you can tell where the light is coming from each and every time. And another one that gets to do a lot of the photo shoots for publicity for plays and theaters that are closer to downtown, looking at their website for the headshots they do, and it's always people in front of a black background, and their hair, if it's dark, just blends into the back. It's like all you can see is a face, really, and maybe a bit of the neck and whatever shirt they're wearing, but you can't see their hair. And maybe that's not as important for headshots for theater, but I think it kind of is. I don't know why, I just feel like it kind of is. Let me know what you think down below if you have to look at those headshots, or if anything strikes an idea in your head about that, or just leave a comment down below in general about the process you've dealt with in doing so. But yeah, that's what gets in my mind about preparing as an actor, whether it's doing monologues or getting a headshot or whatever it is. So let's press on a little further, do a little more talking. So I am now at the Huntsville State Park, and I think I may have to change my mind about camping at finding a campsite at the Sam Houston National Forest, because Huntsville State Park is nice. Look behind me. Oh my gosh, look at this. Is cool. And I've got the Indy CPL KNF filter on there. I'll have to make a review about that pretty soon as well, because I think this is a step up from my other Indy filter from KNF I bought. And I'm not knocking it. It's getting a lot of views. I'm surprised. I'm very thankful for that. Thank y'all for hitting the like button on that. And please, if you're enjoying this video, by the way, or if it's curing your insomnia, please give it a little thumbs up before you fall asleep. I'd really appreciate it. I'm definitely planning ahead to come photograph this. It's about, the sun's getting pretty high right now, but it doesn't look bad. As I was walking the whole way to leave the National Forest from Trailhead 6, the sun was still shining through the trees in such a way, or at such an angle, it still looked like sort of late afternoon, in the fall when we have to change our clocks, and it still had the orange warm feel to it. So I think early morning or late afternoon, early evening is probably going to be a really good time to come photograph something like this. The trees in the distance, the lake here, and I just need to find something in the foreground if I can, or maybe photograph on one of the banks, depending on where I'm pointing the camera. But yeah, this is good. This is going to be a good plan for some good photos coming up. I may have to come back here, I don't know, mid-February maybe, because the winter time is better. The light is more vibrant when it's cold down here, and once we have to change our clocks, I'm guessing in March this year. Also, speaking of planning, something I did last weekend, I should have planned more than I did when I wanted to go do a photo shoot with a friend, just to try to get some ideas out of my head while we were outside. And we brought a bunch of clothes, ended up not using them, one because it was cold, and we walked around Stephen F. Austin State Park, and I had forgotten that most of the trees were going to be leafless, and they looked really naked, like everything on the trunk had fallen off, so they were pretty bare, just really pale white and all that. Okay, I'm gonna have to come back here once the green leaves have come back. It's showing, I don't expect to see any alligators around here right now because it's too cold. I mean, I saw one, throw the image up, was it 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago? I went to Brazos Bend State Park, and there was a big 10 or 12 foot gator just sleeping right out in the open, and made for a good shot with the trees in the background. I probably didn't have the aperture what it should have been, but still looks good. Just sharpened it a bit. So yeah, let me take a test shot here so I'll have it for reference when I come back, and then see what trails there are to walk around a bit. I'm probably not gonna walk a whole lot more because it's already been, what, 4 miles I've done this morning? Ooh. My legs are not any bigger. Okay, yeah, it's a few days later as I'm still working on this video in post, and I woke up this morning, went outside, wasn't thinking anything of it, and there is heavy fog, just really dense fog. And then a friend of mine texted me saying, you know, the fog's really heavy out there, you should go shoot something. I'm like, crap, I did not plan that because I didn't think there was going to be any fog at all. And, you know, again, coming back to planning, you know, look at the weather. And I know I was talking about planning for photography and stuff like this. And, you know, I went to my local park and the woods, they look nice and creepy. I'm like, oh yeah, I can save this, you know, for the next Halloween or something. And, you know, talking about planning for acting. If you want to do a monologue, like film yourself doing something from Macbeth, you know, in the woods when it's foggy. That would work really well too. So in addition to the, you know, planning for a shot and planning for doing a monologue, something like this in my mind would help with that planning. If you want to show it off and give more of a moody feel, maybe it'll get you a role better than just recording yourself in an ordinary lit room in front of a white wall. I don't know. But also planning for if you're making you know, a little movie or short film, like, hey, a slasher film in the woods, original, I know, you know, this would be perfect for it. And yeah, when you're dealing with weather, it is very hard to know what's going to be what, because, you know, weather keeps changing, especially down here in Texas. Weather changes every 15 minutes, so if you don't like it, just wait. But yeah, if you need like a specific look or feel to your scene, you know, you need to plan out ahead of time. And if the weather doesn't match that, have it in the books, shoot everything else, and, you know, you may have to wait however long it takes. If you need that look for that scene, then, you know, that's what you do. You wait until you get that look right, but at least you have it planned out so that you can get up early in the morning or late in the evening, whenever it's good and foggy, wherever you are, and go and shoot it. And you're already prepared, like, you know where the equipment's going to be set up, you know your lines, all that good stuff. And I get a little frustrated with that, like dealing with film students at one of my jobs. It's like, so many people are concerned about, oh, it has to be lit just right, we have to have all the, you know, the big lights and all that. And I keep saying, just shoot it. It's like, you don't need this big broadcast camera to go shoot something. It's nice, and, you know, they're film students, so they're learning how to do all that if they're going to go off and be cinematographers on themselves. And nothing wrong with that. That's fine. But I'm saying, like, you need to learn, you know, basics of filmmaking, and the best way to do that is by going out and just shooting something. And you can see what you did wrong, you know, because you've got time to, you know, not counting fog and all that, but you have time just because it's digital, it's on film, and you can go shoot it again at some point. You know, once you look at it, you know what you did wrong. If you can't go and shoot it again, then yes, that makes planning all the more important. But if you can, great. So yeah, that's really what I wanted to cover here is, you know, planning for your art, basically, whether photography, film, acting. We're not in a theater, obviously. But yeah, I'm glad I got the motivation to get up, even though I hadn't did not plan it. If I had planned it, I probably would have driven down to Galveston Island again to shoot some dense fog along the beach, like right along the water, even though that's a ton of negative space. But I did that. I got lucky the one day when I did vaguely try to plan. I was already going to drive down to the island one morning. I think it was last January or maybe 2 Januaries ago, when I was making a review of the film The Lighthouse, and it just happened to be extremely foggy that day. Or I looked up the night before to make sure when I drove down there that it was going to be foggy. And so that morning just worked out perfectly, and I was extremely lucky for it. But you can't always count on luck. Hence. Yeah. So, that being said, hope you enjoyed this little talking head video. Hope you got some enjoyment out of any of the shots. Maybe got some useful information, I really hope, about planning what you're going to do next. And I need to take my own advice, even still, about planning, future YouTube videos and scripting and all that, at least when I'm filming inside. And, I can see streaks of mist passing right by the lens, so that's kind of cool. Can't see it though, and it looks a lot brighter out here than it does on camera, at least in post. But it's the magic of film. So anyway, thank you all very much for watching. Y'all be excellent, and I will see you in the next one.